Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. It's a special, great episode. I'm a little blurry on screen tonight. I don't know why. That's weird. Hopefully that'll fix. Let's see if I adjust. Yeah, it's getting a little clearer. So I'm doing this special show for two great guys who had a fantastic Kickstarter, did amazing with their Kickstarter. Quite unbelievably amazing, and it was just so great. And I just got to bring them on. They've been on the show before. I'm fans of their work, so let's bring on Chris Watts and Jay Piscopo. So hello, Chris and Jay. How you guys doing?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for letting me do this special episode tonight.
And, well, we bribed you. Come on, let's be
honest. Hold on. I'm just going to throw on another light. I'm feeling kind of blurry tonight. I think I might need a little more lighting. So let me throw that on. Screw it. It's not about me anyway, right?
You're brighter than you're brighter than I am. You take that over.
Uh-oh.
Take it.
Hold on one second. I got a little issue. Heads up. My Facebook requires to go live. Why isn't Facebook live right now? Hold on. I just got a weird message.
Well, everything changes.
Okay. Now it says we're live. So thank you guys. Hopefully I don't get that again. You missed my intro if you're watching on Facebook. But we got Chris Watts and Jay Piscopo. Chris is the publisher of Public Domain Comics, and Jay is the fantastic artist providing so much beautiful art right now to Public Domain Comics. And they recently had a Kickstarter for a Captain Midnight book that Brian Augustin, who was on the show as well, wrote. Jay illustrated, and their Kickstarter was phenomenal. So before we even look at the Kickstarter, let's just chat with them. So how you guys doing tonight? You good?
I'll let Chris go first. You go ahead, Chris. I'm a chatty Cathy, so I'm gonna, and I'm half in the bag. Meaning, nothing. Only point of view being I'm on a different time zone than those guys. Just so anybody, if there's anybody watching the show, so I'm gonna let Chris go. Go ahead, Chris, and then I can ramble.
It went great. We were able to hit a bunch of stretch goals. We started giving away so many books. We had to do a raffle to be able to give anything else away as a stretch goal. That was really cool too. I think next time maybe plan that something like that from the beginning and make it a little more fun for all involved. We have a couple things to raffle off tonight. Not sure if people will see them on replay, but commissioned by Jay, and other than that, some e-comics.
Yep. So this is, by the way, you guys, this is the Kickstarter, and we're going to look at this, and I want to show you how well they did. Only asked for $1,000, got $4,012. 4 times the amount. This is the Captain Midnight book. And is the artwork and stuff on here? I forgot. For the raffles.
Am I doing? Yeah, and I'm not sure. It's like whatever. It's a commission, so I think whoever gets the.
Oh, okay, because I saw some original art down here of yours. And stuff.
Yeah, I've got a bunch that nobody bought that I can definitely. But I mean, I think of the way. I mean, Chris, you intended it that they're like a commission, right? Like if somebody has a particular character they want.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fine. That's cool. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So I look forward to that. I've done, for quite a long time. I think that's been one of the most fun things about doing being a comic book artist. But yeah. Thank you for those. Thank you for saying that. And I just want to say real quick, just to throw in that. Yeah, this is due to Chris's diligence and smart thinking and good business sense and masterful. What's really I just think is great is that I think with comics we understand that deep down, no matter what we're working with, is that we always want more to be able to give more. And Chris knows how to do that, and luckily I've got like such a storehouse of. We have a lot of. I mean, we admit it. There's a lot of low hanging fruit, but at the same time, this is enabling us the I'm very full of gratitude to everybody that contributed, because this gives us. This is a beginning of so many things that we want to do, where we're going to be able to work with other writers and artists, and of course Brian has got like a plethora of things, and Chris as a publisher has I believe the scope to to work with to create what we're doing is to create original stuff that's going to go along with what we're calling reprints. I call it reprints, right? Okay, so this is funny. I was just going through stuff around just my desk here. Like I've got like books that you can see. Like I've got this 100-page giant.
Hold on, let me give you the screen so we can see it.
This is was the inspiration for us. These kind of books done by DC.
Yeah.
For this book, and so it's old content in terms of this was a book I had done with Nemo, with Nemo and with Moonstone before, but it had a limited run. So by bringing it out this way, we could bring it to a wider audience. But by putting it in a book as a reprint within and of itself, but within having more of all the content Chris has been putting out there. And then cleverly, from an editor point of view, bringing in a lot of the Fawcett stuff and building on that, and Airboy, is in the story, so building off of that and figuring out the right kind of combinations of stuff is like, it's the closest thing to going to a comic shop that we can create in a virtual world. And I think that's why it was such a success, was Chris's masterful way of putting it together. And again, here, I'm just going to do it really quickly too. Let me give. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, and we're kind of obsessed with doing this. Where it's like, this is how the big companies stayed alive before a book like this came out. By doing the so-called reprint, stuff like now. This is what I love about this. I think it's a Jerry Ordway cover. Yeah. So a lot of this other stuff I'm doing with Chris, it's just covers of reprint stuff, and I want to show you. By the way, if you've ever seen this book, it's unbelievable.
I'm not sure I have seen that one.
Just look at every, golden cover. Yeah, it's nuts. Now it's like you get everything here. There's public domain and non-public domain stuff, but beautiful glossy pictures of like hundreds and hundreds of these.
Wow.
These covers, right? So this is where. Just so I'm just going to I'll wrap up on this soliloquy, is that Chris and I think one of the reasons why this is working and is a good thing is I think we're both historians in this stuff. We both like, these characters, and we like the idea of.
Hold on, let me give you the screen. What do you show? Oh, every book except that.
All right.
Except that Thrills book that you showed, I have every copy of those books that you were just, and they're the ones I go through and look through a lot for inspiration. I go back to read for fun.
Sure.
I love it, and you know what? I just put them away a couple of days ago. Otherwise, I'd be able to hold up mine. They were over in front of me.
Yeah. So we're like going back and saying, if you like a book like this, that where they're going, I think I forget when this came out. Is this from the 90s or something, or like in the 2000s? I mean, this is like
like early 2000s or late 90s, yeah.
But they're going along with something that we went with in the 70s, and so we're using that. And that Captain Midnight story is written by Brian. Is so 70s. It's like the whole point of it was to create something where it was using the Roy Thomas concept of like, well, every book will be somebody's first book. So when we created that, there's some stuff in there that ties into some of the bigger ideas that are tied into things we want to do in the future together. As working with Chris, with there's a lot of multiverse stuff, and there's a lot of multiple versions of characters, and that's kind of set up in that Captain Midnight book. There's a point where there's an anomaly and a rift in time, and even though they're in shadow, we do introduce possible other new Captain Midnights.
Oh, cool.
And also it ties into Nemoverse. But but thank you, and again, I have such gratitude to Chris and to you for helping out
Thank you.
with this, and to everybody that contributed. It's just
Yeah,
really
I was telling Chris before we got on air, I feel terrible that I actually forgot to contribute to this.
Oh, you shouldn't have said it. First of all, let's just forget you said that. Okay.
I feel no, but I gotta be honest. I feel terrible for a couple of reasons. One, I really wanted to support it, but two, I really wanted that I wanted to get a copy more than the book. I wanted that 11x17 poster you did.
Oh, I think Chris, you could arrange that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys. This was really like, I mean, you guys know me. I'm a huge public domain fan as well. So so it's one of those things I'm kicking myself. I thought I had an extra day or two to get to it. But,
no. And full disclosure, you've done some work that we wanted to. We were talking about doing. You did some great stuff using animated your style of
styles. Yeah.
We're hoping to do that in the future. So I think it's a heck of a book. And as a part of, like, if we're going in this direct, one of the things I'm happy about here, and I'll shut up again, is that this 100-page concept is really cool to me, where we could possibly have two, almost like the way the Detective Comics had, where you had a new content in the beginning, new content in the end, sandwiched with a bunch of reprint stuff.
Yeah.
Do these 100-page books, and I think we've been talking about Blue Beetle, Blue Scarab, and I think we've been talking about some stuff for Halloween that we can get it, though. Chris can give you some more detail on. But
awesome. Well, I got two questions before we get into the raffle stuff you want to talk about. Number one, just because I see on the commission page here you got a Popeye piece. Have you guys seen the article that popped up today or yesterday about how Popeye's going in public domain in Europe?
Oh, I didn't know he's public domain in Europe now? Okay.
I believe he's either going in 2022 or he's officially in. And I think America, I think they said 2024 he'll become public domain. But like only beginning stuff, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I remember I lived during that wonderful time when it was literally the cheapest license on the earth. It was Popeye. This is before Popeye's Chicken, and around the time when Popeye's Chicken had come out. There was all sorts of Popeye this and Popeye that on local levels, and people just it was unbelievable. There was a bar called Popeyes around here.
Yeah.
That everybody had a Popeyes with Popeye painted on the friggin' window.
Yeah, we had one up in. I grew up in a town called Mahopac, New York. 30 minutes from me was Peekskill, and Peekskill, right as you're entering Peekskill, was a Popeyes bar with Popeye painted, and I'm like, this can't be legit. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is it's just what's funny was when I found it was so cheap, you could license it for nothing.
Yeah.
I think there's a version that was done in the 80s when the comic shops were created, where it's a Popeye and he's fully it's done as if he was realistic.
Oh, really? Huh.
I can't remember who did it, but I think that was done, and that's where I think if you've seen Popeye images up there, that my Popeye is like, I think I'm ripping off Mignola or something. I'm trying to, what if Mignola did, Popeye.
And the other question comes actually from the audience, since you mentioned, working with the Blue Beetle, and I think you called him Blue Scarab, but that's your version of him. Somebody in the comments, and I'm terrible with names, and I apologize, and I'm just trying to get over to the screen to show the comment, but he's asking about the Marvel family. What changes did you make to the characters? Because you do post a lot. You call them like the Thunder Men or something. Being that part of Captain Marvel's in public domain, how do you go about using the Marvel family?
Well, well, here's the thing: the Marvel family,
very careful.
It actually gets problematic if you use three of them together as the Marvel family, because that's kind of trademarked. But it's the way the Thunders work.
Yeah, right here.
We haven't got into their lore yet, but basically, I kept all the major strokes of where there's an orphan, and using a magic word, and also there being a conflict between good, a spiritual conflict between good and evil, where you've got the wizard. There's a wizard, so all that stuff's there. It's just been renamed and repurposed with a little more depth here and there. So, in the way that the Last Dominion works, which was kind of the stuff that Chris and I are working on, kind of this low-hanging fruit we're bringing in and integrating with his work. The whole idea with that is that there's these multiple universes and multiple versions of these idioms. And in the Thunder case, we have a version that's got Native American background. And so we're alluding to that there's a Captain Marvel Prime still in this universe, even though I'm curious how we could, like, I have the full Captain Marvel costume, but when I draw him, I'm making him like, not like the C.C. Beck version, but very much, I'm trying to get that Fred McMurray look.
Yeah.
People accuse me why he's not smiling, because that was, it's part of the look. I'm trying to create a whole other thing there. At the same time, we're alluding that he's in this universe. And the Thunder family, the big difference is I'm using Zoroastrian stuff and more heavy Egyptian, combining it with Egyptian and ancient astronaut stuff, and that, which Captain KO was a sketch for that, pretty much. Captain KO is like I've got several ersatz Captain Marvels, and that's one of them. And so what I figured out to do was what we're doing with Frankenstein, which Chris, we'll talk about for this Frankenstein stuff we're doing, the monster stuff we're doing. And the same, we have at least 10 Frankensteins. There's a pirate Frankenstein. There's all these Frankenstein. It's the same thing with that character as well. And also Blue Scarab, but Thunder is, and the whole Thunder family and all that stuff, we basically grafted on all the Fawcett characters and simply did some renaming here and there, where we can just repackage what we've got, redesign it a little bit. But to me, it's what if the larger companies, which DC claims ownership of these characters, but if they were using them more often, these are directions they would probably go in that we're coming up with. So the Thunder stuff I would love to get more into. There's it gets, this is where I can get kind of cosmic, and I can basically use Captain Marvel without what would I do with Captain Marvel is basically the answer to the question. And hopefully give it some little, I hope some other twists especially with the Zoroastrian stuff, good and evil, and who these characters are and how they're related to each other, and there's other stuff there. So awesome.
Well, I hope that answers your question. And
let's bring it down to
no. It was a good answer. It needed some explaining because a lot of people are fans of the original Captain Marvel. The Beck stuff, and certain aspects of it are in public domain. But since DC owns stuff, it gets a little confusing. So I think you gave a great explanation on how you change things up to kind of.
And to give credit to other creators who've done it before, there's, you've got, I think in Big Bang Comics, there's a Marvel Man or a Mighty Marvel,
something like that.
Man, Captain Mighty or something like that. And everybody loves this, loves the old Captain Marvel. I mean, this is the thing I want to do with Chris, is do a new Crime Crusaders story where we use Captain Marvel Jr., and we just call him Junior in the story. And he's going to look just like the Raboy version with the exact same costume, which has been changed by. See, what I love is every time they change it and modernize it, the more we just go back and use the original stuff, we're in the clear, I believe.
Yeah.
So if we come up with a whole new Crime Crusaders story that's complete new content, it's got nothing to do with anything DC ever did, and we throw in Captain Marvel Jr. in the story, and we just call him Junior through the whole story.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to use derivative works of the stuff that's fallen out of copyright, as long as we don't violate their trademark on ownership of names and of all the canon that they have sense with characters.
I mean, we don't have to call him Freddie Freeman. We don't even have to, like, there's all sorts of ways we could use that character in the story and walk right up to that line.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how to say the viewer's name. Wraithmere. He says, "Thanks for the answer. My wife noted it's like Thor that anyone can use."
Yeah, he's great. I know him.
Awesome, man. Anyone can use the version, but don't make him too much like Marvel's character. No. Yeah. So.
No, it's that being too on the nose. It's not, some people don't like that. At the same time, I think that's the kind of territory we're in with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I like playing right up to the line with it myself, and we'll see how people judge it. I, personally, this Captain Midnight book, staring back to that, this version of that character is the Fawcett version.
Yeah.
Which is the most clear in terms of if you're going to use a version of the character.
Yeah. So let's move on to what we're here for tonight. Let's talk about these raffles and what's the plan for them and how we handling it. So
yeah, I was gonna raffle off a commission from Jay and a collection of PDFs here.
Awesome. So let me just stop the screen share so we have a bigger. I'm just gonna go to this view. It's easier for everyone to see everybody here. Okay, so how do you want to do the raffle?
All right.
You have a hat?
Yeah, there's an app for that.
You have like a hat though?
Well, at least it's like full transparency here, so everyone knows I actually went through all these raffle numbers and pulled numbers and saw who it was.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the
You're on
full
the up
screen.
and up, Chris. Chris is totally on. I just want to vouch for Chris being on the up and up. It's me you have to worry about. I'm sketchy. I'm always sketchy at best. So
I was just accused of an artist whose project has been kind of stalled that I've been working on earlier of not being on the up and up this morning, and I didn't even know what to say. It was just I've tried to be as upfront as possible with you, but
you got to watch. Artists are a weird breed. You got to watch out for, especially, and then comic book artists. I mean, let's just face it, the personality type it takes to do this stuff, especially now. It's a personality defect or something. I don't know what to say.
Some sort of masochistic thing. All right.
Well, it's actually helping me get more centered. I'm like, this is where, as you guys know, I teach, so I feel like I have one foot in heaven, and when I do this stuff, I have one foot in hell, and it's like, and it's kind of keeping me honest to try to. I mean, I haven't been to a convention in a long time. We'll see what happens when that. I mean, that could be
when
anything.
Those come back. Yeah, I mean, I've actually walked a couple of
to the mix.
I'm sorry, Chris. What'd you say?
Oh, add purgatory to the mix, or
yeah,
purgatory is the airports. You're getting from that before, but, no, I'm really excited. I mean, one of the things that's there's really there's real providence, divine providence, with Chris and I working together to be not to be totally overly dramatic. And the fact he's out in San Diego, and I just feel like there's going to be a point where, if again we're in the end of the world and anything could happen by Christmas, but if the world still exists and the comic industry is and people we adapt and we keep on moving on. I think this is an interesting, this whole public domain stuff and how people are kind of getting into it as sort of a sub genre, let's call it, of comics. This is where, there's other people doing this, but I've always said from the fans' point of view, people who felt wasted by the New 52 or getting into comics that have certain agendas to them where it's like they're not against the agenda, they just wish it wasn't in the particular book they were reading. I mean, there's a whole variety of like people, I don't want to completely get into all this kind of stuff, but if you want to get into what we're getting into and what other people are getting into, it's why, again, this is half of it, we're dealing with the pop art visual, and not just as a pastiche. There's an energy going on, and that's why I go back to good and evil, and why we've got, like in our universe, we've got Nazi-topia. I call it Nazi-topia. Nazi-topia is basically, it's Man in the High Tower, and I was talking about this with Chris the other day. Was that JLA issue where the equality characters were introduced into the DC universe made a massive impact on me, and so we have a lot of these characters that exist in these multiple universes that have been taken over by these Nazis, and they're with different and Frankenstein versions of them, and just all these different flavors of this stuff. And it just perpetuates that's what these characters were doing in the first place, was they're in this World War II Nazi-topia universe, kind of universe. And it also bisects with diesel punk. And I loved, that's just as a personal thing. The more it proliferates and more fans get into this stuff, it's a form of diesel punk is where it'll go with a lot of this. And again, this stuff we have planned for the future that I think fits, or is mostly, it's like diesel punk more than anything.
Oops. Okay, sorry, I just heard a sound on my computer that wasn't anything to do with the show. It's from my phone. So what I'm going to do with my
that was a big dramatic.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Can we see who's here? Are people watching?
Yes, we got about. The thing isn't an accurate reading, but there's about 6 people currently watching.
Well, God bless them. I just want to say. I want to just say right out, because I can't. Besides you, God bless you guys too. But thanks for being here. And I'm like, I love it. They got questions and stuff too. Great.
I'm always happy to have.
That's really great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I the number though isn't always accurate. Like I will leave and look at it later, and they'd be like, "Oh, you actually had 40 people actually watching live views."
That's a big
yeah, but it's weird. It's like, oh, I had 20. Like I did a last Saturday. I was at a virtual con. I did what was it? Imbion. I'm sorry, you guys. So for my friend Sebastian and everybody at Imbion Con, I'm sorry I forgot your name for a second, but Imbion Con asked me to do a workshop, like a 1-hour workshop on animating, and I did animating in Photoshop, and I gave an hour demo. It said I had 8 viewers live on it. When I logged off and I went back to check how many views, I had 22 views live.
Huh, interesting.
So I don't know why there's a change. I don't know if it's because I stream to different channels and there's a little issue with reading everything. But yeah, sometimes.
And this is on YouTube, right? Right now?
It's on YouTube, Twitch, and
Gotcha. And it's all simultaneous. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so it's like, I'm just glad people are interested and participated.
Yeah. So let's get to the raffles. I want to see who's winning stuff, or how we doing this. So
I'm going to give you what I'm going to draw. I got to know who.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Chris the full screen. Do you have stuff to show, Chris, or?
No, well, I will show the app just so screen.
Okay, let me.
Probably not where the sun is in California right now. What?
Okay. No, I'm giving you the screen right now if you want to show it. So you got the numbers. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to pull 2 out of numbers 1 through 100. No, I'm sorry. I have to adjust that. I got some factors at the end of the thing there. 114.
So 114 is... Now, how did this work? Did people get numbers and...
They're actually, Kickstarter already just numbered them, I believe, in the order of which they backed.
Okay.
So then I can go from the list. I actually, yesterday in the morning, sat there and typed everyone's name into this app to do it by name. And then when I saved it or whatever, it didn't tell me until afterwards, oh, you don't have the pro version of the app, and it just wiped the list.
Oh.
So after thumb typing 100 names in, I'm like, well, I'm just not going to do it that way again.
Okay, so backer 114 has won what?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh.
There, one between numbers 1 and 114.
Oh, between the numbers. So now you're going to.
Oh my God, Michael, what have you done?
I'm sorry, 114. You haven't won anything. I hope you do though now.
Well, I don't think anyone knows what number they are.
Okay, so we'll make it up. 2, 7.
That's even better. That works out for everyone.
Well, otherwise we would have to give 104. Now we're going to have to give 114. It was our last backer.
They don't know that they are 114, so it's hopefully the app.
Michael Gracias.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll look good.
Yeah.
That'll look even better.
Especially after I publicly said I forgot to donate. So.
Which I don't understand why you did. It's like, were you guilty? What the heck? Don't even.
I know. I actually feel terrible. I really do feel terrible that I didn't.
We didn't need you, Michael.
The honesty test.
Hey, we didn't need you. Okay.
I'm
sorry. My $20 is. I'll buy myself lunch.
A little bit, because I know I'm just so grateful. I mean, I'm being full on joking with that. It's like, I think where I'm just so grateful that, and you're going to get, and here's the deal. I mean, you have contributed. You've done so much to help and get the word out, and also you've done artwork with us, and been supportive, and it's just I'm as I said I torture people. I tortured Brian through the other, when he was on. I try, I can't help it. It's
okay. It's one of the reasons we love you.
Thank you. It's a gentle ribbon.
All right, Chris. So we got.
We have the first one. Name. We have Roland Miller Jr.
Rowan Miller Jr.
Yes, has won J. Piscopo commission.
Awesome! Oh, congratulations to Roland.
Is he here?
If he is, comment in the audience.
If you're here. Tell me
I recognized Ray Reithmeyer's name. He was very active in messages, and
Ray's great. Ray's been very supportive, and thank you, Ray. Thank you so much. Very, very supportive, and I really appreciate his support over the years on stuff. And thank you. But yeah, that's exciting. So I'll get a commission on the way for when we find out. If that commission is out.
And get paid.
Weird.
Michael, are you watching the Oxygen Channel again? Is there like a Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman marathon that you can't miss or something?
Yeah, it's on the Roku, and can't help but turn it back on. Okay.
I'm horrible.
Robert H. Hudson Jr. is the winner of a PDF package of 80 Years of the Greatest Superheroes.
Wow. And I'm sorry, what's his name again? Did you forget?
Oh. No, I just want to make... Yeah, it was a long night. Night. Robert H. Hudson Jr.
Congratulations to him. And I just want to have this comment. I guess his first name's Ray. You guys are very welcome. I'm a fan from way back. So thank you. All right, next up.
And we have one more, a PDF package of Monsters Amok. It's a collection of Steve Ditko monster comics from Charlton.
Wow.
Early 60s.
Michael Gracia, come on. No, sorry.
And Frankenstein's in there, right? Is it a little bit, or and Heat?
Yeah, yes. Or actually, they already have that one, a PDF of that coming for Stretch Goal.
Awesome. Oh, this is the Ditko one. This is the straight Ditko. That's great.
I wasn't trying to end the transparency. We have a number 71.
Number 71.
Which is Michael Sandlin.
Michael Sandlin, congratulations on that. That sounds like a fantastic, package there that you'll be receiving.
I'm telling you, this is what Chris put together. When you look at just the list of books, it's like we're in the new age. It's taken me a while to like kind of pinch myself to see where we're at, because you look at this stuff and it's a nice shelf,
Yeah.
and and we really are appreciative so much everybody supporting this, because the intent, and I think people see this, is that the intent is we're going to give you some new material, with the ability to also, I think you're also going to get some really fun edited reprint stuff mixed in, and also supportive of what the new material is. I think we're going to have some interesting. I mean, there's some characters we haven't even played. I've got so much stuff that we've been kind of repurposing, but I've been in this weird place with the Black Owl lately, and all those prize comics, and again, because it's connected to the Brief for Frankenstein. So, but and there's also a character where I did come up with kind of a short synopsis on is Bulldog Denny.
Okay.
Something we're talking about for Halloween is just do a Bulldog Denny book.
Okay.
The Frankenstein stuff with Bulldog Denny, and then some new artwork.
Awesome. Oh, I have recently seen your Black Owl stuff posted on Facebook. I believe you just had a couple of pictures you did.
Yeah, I've been kind of like going to prize in my hobby time when prize comics was kind of has been a destination. The thing I've been fascinated by was that costume is a Simon and Kirby costume.
Mm-hmm.
He was, basically the owl had they kept the headdress and got rid of the tuxedo. I think he was like the Clock, pretty much, or like Phantom Detective, and then Simon and Kirby does that blue and red costume. So that's kind of where I've been. I think again, where other creators do the same thing is we kind of concentrate on the pedigree sometimes, and so to work on a Simon and Kirby character that hasn't been reabsorbed by the estate, which is, maybe they're hearing this and they'll like find a way but I don't think they can, because of the character's original ownership and the work for hire nature. It was a redesign of an original, so I think we can get away with it.
Chris, any more stuff to give away?
Nope. That was it.
That was it? Okay.
For the raffle. We'll do one hopefully with our next book and plan it out more. I didn't expect to get to the point where we couldn't afford to send anyone even a trading card. Just with shipping. Like, okay, give all these backers one more thing. We're gonna do the opposite of what we're supposed to do, and not make any money. So I better send them get a couple good prizes and a bunch of PDFs and stuff that we still want to show our gratitude and still be able to see how far we could take one campaign.
Yeah, that's a great mod. We have other stuff. We definitely have stuff.
When do you expect to put your next Kickstarter out?
Well, we're talking about for Halloween.
Like this coming Halloween next month.
So we're thinking, yeah. So we're looking at the Frankenstein stuff is sort of the linchpin of a lot of stuff I've been working on for years. Also, one of my pet projects for years, working in advertising and working in the soda business, was to actually create actual Halloween comics that could be marketed at Halloween in grocery stores as candy. But almost got to that point where we were going to market these little comic books with candy. Which I believe is the way to do it. If there's a day for that to happen, and we're back to some sort of weird nostalgic stuff around that, that's really the sensible way if you're going to market comics for Halloween. And so I've got a bunch of characters that are all public domain derivatives or dovetail with or they're complete homages. You know, that they're completely original, but they're like I have a character that I guess you could say would be based on Mr. Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of thing, you know, pair of 45s, goggles, the whole, you know, this one has a jetpack and a weird Illuminati-esque, you know, like weird, you know, Merovingian. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like I forget what the exact symbol. It's something that was way. I wanted to make something really way out there. You know, an eye with 2 crossbones and bat wings. I can't remember what the whole thing. Anyway, and he's got, and I'm doing off color. Like he's wearing, you know, like I don't know, like chartreuse and purple. You know, it's just nutty stuff. But that horror superhero connection. Mm-hmm. I really want us to kind of have our own corner of the market on that. And
so, are you talking about using like the Dell monsters, like the Frankenstein there, and
yeah, okay. The Dell monsters. The thing is, the centerpiece of that is the horror agents, and the horror agent is an acronym for what is it? I forget what it is. Anyway, it's like the horrible agents. Anyway, they're actually, I think it's one of the better acronyms I came up with, where it's actually kind of the whole thing was to take those characters and class them up a little bit towards Thunder Agents. Mm-hmm. And they live in a dystopia again, where, you know, it's in the 60s, but it's the Nazis won World War II using a giant horde of vampires, wolfmen, and you know, undead Frankenstein zombies as their army. And this was part of an old these ancient formulas. These characters were created, or these monsters were created by the Atlanteans as a part of their last ditch war with Lemuria. So there's all these kind of, again, all the stuff that we like to layer into this. And they're part of a civilization of the last bastion of the United States living underground in Alaska. And they travel around in a, it looks like the Eagle from the Apollo Eagle with treads on it. And that's their kind of all-purpose vehicle to get around the Earth. They have holographic disguises. So there's a whole, I'm a big Man from U.N.C.L.E. fan. Okay. So there is, even though this is in this Nazi dystopia in the 60s, there's going to be some goofiness. Some spy goofiness going on with some of this stuff. Yeah, each one of the agents is a hybrid mutant based with all the good attributes of the monsters. So in this case, the Frankenstein character he's alive. He wasn't dead to begin with, but from birth, he has this hyper indestructible body and is walking that fine line. We don't, you know, is he really alive? Is he not? Whatever. It's like, even with, he's raised the right way. Does he still have a soul? There's going to be all that kind of, you know, 60s angst you put in this kind of stuff. But there's, you know, we basically took the Dell characters, you know, and they're redone in a way, I think, way better than what they did with the Dell characters. But the idea was, again, to take, and this is all layered through all the other versions we've got, taking these monsters or these idioms and making them into something else, you know, trading it around, making something else. I mean, one of my favorite versions that I want to get to is Sword of Frankenstein, which is basically an alternate universe where Frankenstein, the monster, is found in the North Pole by pirates off course, and he becomes their captain.
Very interesting.
When we get into, and that's where I really want to get in. You know, it's very much like I grew up with my favorite of the pirate movies were the Burt Lancaster, you know, the Crimson Pirate, and that was just, to me, you know, I'd love to do something with that degree of, you know, just a fun pirate story, but it's Frankenstein. It's the Crimson Pirate, basically.
It's very interesting.
The moment of that one would be when he finds Victor Frankenstein again somewhere else, a different location. You know,
that's the
I mean, I don't know.
That's perfect, because we get in the story and the whole Frankenstein, basically the umbrella story that we've got. It's called Frankenstein Unchained, and there's I don't know if you're familiar with the term demiurge. There's these two characters that become sort of the centers of these multiple universes, and one is the monster, and one is the Doctor.
Okay.
And they're at totally different. They're trying to do different things, and then there's versions of them. There's different versions of them. But there's a character called Baron Thunderbolt, and this is where I get into Thunder again, where now I've crossed Frankenstein with Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
because he's getting zapped with electricity and the holy, the holy lightning and all that kind of stuff, and magic. And so a lot of this, the fun of this stuff is, when I was not a huge fan of Project Superpowers, but I'm not going to put it down. But one of the things we're doing is we're adding more. There's way more of these interesting layers from so many different sources in the public domain of all these different characters. And I know Chris and I have poured over this stuff, and other people have too. And I think people are going to get the benefit of what we've culled out of it, and that's the thing that I think has been so amazing. This weird pseudoscience and magic combined with hyper patriotism, dealing with fighting World War II and that kind of stuff is like an interesting playground. It's like, it's really fun, and why these things were fun to begin with.
Yeah, no, and is this something that you tend to do, though? Put them in these different types of worlds? You don't ever set anything kind of like in a modern age? You kind of always have a time period set for these characters?
Well, with the Frankenstein Unchained, there is a character that's, I wanted to make this, I really didn't get into the whole story of it, but it came to mind where it's almost a Mad Max version of Frankenstein. And it's like, but I made this mock cover just to remind myself that if I could ever get back to it. And I write on the cover, I remember somewhere there was a poll somewhere that the most covers that sell the most in the bins, in the comic shops, this was like a few years ago, were the ones that had action and then there was a word balloon on it. Like somebody was talking.
Yeah.
In the scene, which now, it's thought of as, again, it's low class, but I love that. So I have Frankenstein jumping and he's like, it's like he's cybernetic and I think he's yelling something like, finally, the times have caught up with me. And we actually talked about this. I mean, just so you know where we're going with this. I mean, because Chris put together on his own, I have a character called Sergeant Frankenstein, who's sort of an homage to Creature Commandos DC Comics did in Weird War, Weird War was my favorite book for, a good part of my tween years was Weird War. I love Weird War. But Chris put together some stuff around Sergeant Frankenstein, who's another sort of spoke in this wheel. And it's about, I've been obsessed with Frankenstein my whole life. And there's a book that was made, Roger Corman made an adaptation of Frankenstein Unbound. That's why I use the name Unchained. Mm-hmm. And Frankenstein Unbound basically gets into time travel and alludes to at the very end, you see this this futuristic Castle Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Sort of this weird kind of epilogue. And I've been obsessed with it my whole life. And that's why I've got my own castle, sitting in the Rock of Eternity, the same way, I've got basically melded Shazam with Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff. And it's fun. It's just a whole new playground for us to play in where, everybody wants something new, but they don't,
Yeah.
It's just another way. I mean, in the contemporary people who've been doing this are people like, my biggest influence has been Alan Moore in terms of reconstruction, reconstructing this kind of stuff. And a little bit of, I'm not a huge fan, but what's his name? Grant Morrison. But, in terms of mixing and matching idioms of characters to create a new character, that stuff you're familiar with, I love what he does with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So we're doing the same. We're all on the same page, I think. It's just we're saying, look, our flavor of, a chocolate ripple ice cream is better than Joe's down the street, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Captain Midnight book, I'm so proud. Again, this is, I think people will see, even in its again, wasn't super ambitious in terms of telling a huge story. It's this little encapsulated story as if you pulled it out of the rack of a run of 100.
Yeah.
And that was, I think that in and of itself is a testament to Brian's ability to write, and just also our ability to work together to create a funny yarn, that's just out of the middle, out of nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. You guys, I mean, listen, you guys are doing.
So I can't wait for you to see. I mean, I know you've seen stuff on Facebook.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a new 8-page story that I'm working on. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, listen, you guys are doing some great stuff out there. You guys are championing the public domain characters, which I've noticed over the last couple of years have becoming more and more popular for people to go to and just start looking at. And I don't know if it's the way mainstream has handled comics, or people are just specifically during the pandemic started having time to do more research and learn about these characters.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I see the rise of public domain characters coming into coming up more often.
Well, I'm going to name drop and say there was a big name in comics that started his own public domain page, and Rob Liefeld has done that on Facebook, and I go in there and I self-promote.
Oh, he has his own public domain page. I wasn't aware that he had his own. I know I've seen him on the Public Domain Heroes.
Well, but now he kind of took his own. He's got his own kind of fiefdom with it.
Okay, I'll have to look. He's someone. There's something I've always loved about Rob, and that was his passion for comics. He's one of those people is a dream interview of mine, because when you talk to him, and I haven't had the chance to ever talk to him, but when you get him talking about comics, it's like he's back to being a 12-year-old kid. The excitement that comes out of him. So I love watching his posts and stuff.
I'm seeing that with the public domain stuff. You can see that he's ignited by it as well. I mean, that's why we're doing this. All of us are doing it, I think, in some ways. I remember so clearly picking up Detective Comics, 100-pager Detective Comics, and seeing my first Dr. Fate story. And drawn in, and the art deck, everything was art deco, like a freaking out, like looking at this stuff and seeing stuff that was 40 years before my birth. And also Superman, when they started putting the Schuster Supermans together, and I discovered Wayne Boring and things like that. This is the fun, I think this is the book I was just showing you. This was what's so funny, but this isn't the exact issue. But
I give you the screen again. Hold on.
I remember this like this was a comic, not this particular this particular physical issue itself, but I used to have a comic that was given to me by a friend. He gave me this issue when it first came out. It's got Dead Man in it, and I'd never seen Dead Man before.
Yeah,
and this was my first exposure to Dead Man. Was this book?
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, and so also the Nick Cardy covers are just, if you're a cover artist and you're into cover art, Nick Cardy is like, you want to make, you can see where here's Jerry Ordway is clearly.
I have that issue. I'm a huge Ordway fan. He's someone I'm trying to get on the show too.
And I definitely think Nick Cardy is in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just no two ways about it. So,
yeah.
And Murphy Anderson and all those kind of folks. So, it's interesting. I mean, we can get into someday, it's like, I think what it'd be fun as panels in the future for more creators to get together to talk about, the difference between pastiche and building off of what we've got, and what those lines are, and who's doing that or not doing it, or should it matter or whatever. I think that's an interesting thing. From what I saw from what Liefeld's doing. I can't help. When someone's a big artist, I was calling by their last name, but I've never met him. If I met him, I'd probably call him Robert. But he really has his brand is around patriotic characters.
Yeah.
He's kind of, I think, Captain Freedom's, I think, a character he's kind of like taking under his wing, developing. Also, of course, Eric Larson kind of paved the way with this stuff, and they're, contemporaries. So he's using Daredevil and characters like that. So and I think the fact that somebody with his notoriety and has his name attached, if that brings more notoriety to get people, the fans that are left, comics, to come in and take this route. And also where we want to get to is we've got some plans around stuff that actually market directly to libraries. So to get actual physical copies in bookstores and libraries and comic shops and that kind of stuff is part of the plan. This is the stuff. This is the real, and we know there's the publishers who are doing this right now who are just doing or going on reprint. But I really think if we get into this world and there's more of this kind of content, which again, we're giving trade secrets, but who cares? I mean, this is why it's so fun. Is like, there's more of this kind of stuff. This is what I want to buy. Like when I have more money and can actually spend other things in food, I would buy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to. I was actually talking to a friend of mine a while back about doing a comic together. And we were looking at like the old comics, the big, 60, 80, 100-page books where, in the old days, you'd get a superhero story, maybe a romance story, a comedy, all this stuff. And just, we kind of wanted to emulate what we had in the past.
Yes.
And see that and just put it together, a very large book that, the goal is to do like 2 a year. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but, we were in talks about doing that because we just love the old stuff so much and what they did and how it was just something in there for everybody, I
think that's a great way to put it. Something in there for everybody, but also as a creator, even though you have a limited run to do, it's like doing it again with Captain Midnight, knowing that it's one of 100 and having such a background in, having been being fans ourselves, you can create this feeling. And I got this, the thing that I got this from the most was in Alan Moore's Tom Strong, is that you can be so evocative to give the feeling that there's hundreds and thousands of stories, and you're only, it's like grabbing these little stories out of the fragments out of the ether. And so even for a run like Tom Strong, it just feels like there's millions more possibilities. And you can do, because these characters have all these backgrounds and already had, even if they had 5 stories, like Red Panther we use, it's only had 5 stories, but now, or the one I love is, particularly is Manowar, his origin, we have some plans for him. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to everything you guys are doing. I mean, I know you got a lot of fans of people who just love your art so much, but with the stories that, we all know Brian's a great writer, so attaching with a writer like that, Chris, who has a passion and love for the public domain and wants to just put out these books. And I forgot, Chris, do you write any of the books or any of the stories? I forgot last time we talked.
The last one that I was writing is now the artist is going to take it elsewhere. Was just talking about this.
He's writing with me, okay? And
but I'll definitely would love to write some stuff with Jay. We've already been working on some stuff. And
yeah, I mean, there's stuff where I've made some of these things where I literally can just throw it at anybody who wants to work on it, and then they can take it where they want to go. Yeah. So like for instance, if Chris had this thing around Sergeant Frankenstein, and it's the kind of thing where I could just show him where I wanted to go with it, had some ideas with it, and then throw it to him, and then he can do whatever he wants with it. And I know I'm going to be happy with the result. Yeah. I think what I've been doing, how I work in comics, and it was just part of my way of working, was it happened with Captain Eli, was I just started generating these engines of these kind of universes using these characters, and then it's in. I mean, our big plan is to get Nemoverse done as a 400-page graphic novel.
Wow!
And that's where, in the third book, in the last part of the graphic novel, you see finally this world opens up, and all of these characters are in there. They're part of Nemoverse. They're part of the Captain. I mean, the co-Captain Nemoverse universe, Captain Eli, is all of this stuff's integrated, and that's why it's so fun. We can finally get it done because we do everything. There'll be one day, hopefully, if we get enough of it done, a fan would look back and go, "Oh, how the hell?" It's like the first Jack Katz's First Kingdom or something. It's like but way less nudity and and butchery. There's way less butchery and nudity, unfortunately, for people that want that. But if they want to get into, like, I love. I just want to throw this out there. If you want to put the link in if anyone's still listening.
Yeah, if you want to.
Let me just throw this out there. It's called The Laws of the Sun. You can get the movie for free on YouTube. It's an anime. The filmmaker's done The Laws of the Sun and The Laws of the Universe. I think it's another one. But anyway, the best way to describe it without turning anyone off, it's spiritual science fiction. It's like bizarre. It deals with like epochs of time. It's very Kirby-esque that way. You know how Kirby would like mix in mysticism with science fiction.
Oh yeah.
And so when I saw Laws of the Sun, when I was doing my research with Captain Eli, it blew my mind. Where I'm like, oh, it's like I was into magical realism in terms of literature, reading Gabriel Garcia Marquez, stuff like that. What I liked about it is when you set the stage and use these kind of things, you can get into some. This is my kind of obsession, is taking things that are epic and creating something that's very ordinary within that, something that's very human, even though this epic stuff's going on. And then something that's very ordinary, show that can be epic. That the character just coming to a simple understanding in the story can be as big as burning down in a castle. So. I don't want to encourage castle burning or anything, but you get the idea. I was trying to think as much dramatic as I could, but it shows you how bad I am. That's why I'm working with better writers. But anyway, but that's the idea, though, is that these, we pick up these comics for the artwork. I mean, the artwork is a big part of it. And then the story pacing, if it can, you get that good read feeling where you've been on a ride. I think that's where a lot of these new creators, a lot of people who are doing this work, why they're using these characters and themes as well. I mean, I'm working with, just to throw it out again, I just started on the new Uncle Sam book, which we had that very successful Kickstarter prior to this, which I feel blessed, and it's great this stuff's working out. But Scott Harris King, his writing style and how he's using the character, his Crime Busters, I would say is simpatico with what we're trying to do, and it's new and fresh, but at the same time, it's bouncing off of these characters.
Nice.
No more iced tea. Nice. I'm gonna at night after 6.
Oh man, I fall asleep drinking coffee.
You what? I'm sorry.
I fall asleep drinking coffee.
Well, Chris is a tougher man than I am. That's for sure. No, you're tougher than me.
You guys, I think I gotta wrap it up for tonight, just because of early morning tomorrow. But
let's talk more.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, you guys, number one, you're always welcome back. I love having you guys on. I love chatting with you guys. So
we'll get Brian. We're going to get Brian on, and the three of us, and then we also, again, we have Doc Migo, who's a character and a half.
Yeah, bring them all on. I would love it.
Future for us too. So I think when you get the whole crew of insane people that are doing this,
I wouldn't have to say anything.
No,
I'd just be like, this is the group, go, and you guys could have.
Brian and Paul Clark, Dr. Migo, and myself on a podcast together. I want to see myself what's going to happen.
Dude.
Well, we'll work on making that happen on here. I would love to have you guys on, and we
It'll
can
be like
chat about some.
it'll be like an old wrestling show. It's gonna be like it's gonna have the same. It'll have that same unexpected rage. I'm kidding. It's all fun.
Yeah.
It's all fun, isn't it?
I'm having a blast. So,
As long as one person has smiled.
hey, listen, that's the important thing, right? We do this stuff to make people happy.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I do have an early morning tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to close off. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to say congratulations again on such a successful Kickstarter. All your fans are gonna be getting some really great stuff. I know the quality that you guys put out, and no one's gonna. It's impossible to be disappointed on anything that they receive. So, you guys keep doing what you're doing. I honestly mean it. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
I love chatting with you guys.
Great. You were wonderful to us.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to just drop you backstage for a moment, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. All right, guys?
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Had a great conversation as always with these guys. They're always fun. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, but I've been scrolling down. I hope you guys noticed that publicdomaincomics.net is where you can go to get more public domain comics from Public Domain Comics. And if you go on Facebook and type in the art of Jay Piscopo, you will find his art page, and you could follow him on there and check out all the work that he's posting. Thank you, Ray, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and catch me on Tuesday when I'll have another guest. Look for the ads. We're gonna have a lot of fun coming up in the next few weeks. I got a lot of great guests coming on. So yeah, you guys, have a great rest of your night, or whenever you're watching this, just enjoy. I'll see you guys later. And congratulations to all the people who won the raffles. You're going to love what you get. All right, guys. Have a good night.